Good morning, everybody. It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. So, last night was the first preseason game for the Lakers, and I missed it. Yeah, I got a new job, so it didn't allow me to get home in time to catch the game, but I did watch the highlights and all the aftermath and all that. So, for me to give you a deep dive, I would want to have watched the game. But one thing that I did like that stood out was the size that the Lakers have. As I said in all the other videos, that wasn't really a surprise to me. When you have 3 7-footers that are all defensive minded and they can all run the floor and they all have upside athleticism, not upside, but above average athleticism, you're going to have opportunities to block a lot of shots, rebound the ball quite a bit, and get easy tip-ins all over the rim. And that's exactly what we saw last night. Now, I don't know that the Golden State Warriors are the best team to really define whether or not the Lakers are going to be dominant against the rest of the league, because the Golden State Warriors are significantly smaller than most teams right now. They're guard oriented, and going forward, I think they're going to have a lot of problems, honestly. I know they can shoot the ball, but they don't have the inside presence to really give them a chance against some of the teams that are really, really big. So I don't, and plus it's preseason, their rotations and stuff like that brand new. So I'm not going to look at that as a barometer for who they are or what they'll do against us, but I don't think they're also the best team to look at in terms of seeing how we'll do against everyone else. Now, the thing that really stood out were some of the guys on the back of the bench. I saw some really nice plays out of a guy named Kokok. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's C-A-C-A Kakak. I think that's how you say that. Kakak. C-A-C-A-K. I don't know. Kakak. He's pretty good. He did some good things. Some of our other guys behind him and on that bench as well were really doing great things. I like what I saw out of Troy Daniels, although I heard he got hurt. I hope he can make a quick recovery because he really had a good game. Just a lot of good stuff out there, but it was the size that stood out for the Lakers that really made a difference. Rondo and LeBron James are, as someone else said on television, are quarterbacks. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how LeBron James handles this, because he really isn't the focal point of this team right now. He's never in his life been in that situation, and I'm not 100% sure he's ready for someone else to be the man on his team. That's a different level of stepping aside. I know he played with Dwayne Wade, but he was the guy that Dwayne stepped aside for. And no other time in the history of his life on a basketball floor did he defer to anyone else. And while he's saying he wants to do that, and he's saying that makes him happy, I'm wondering if it really will when it boils down to it. Now, I think there's also a chance that all this that I'm saying doesn't even apply, because he's so great that he ain't going to take no backseat to Anthony Davis. But I think at this point, what we saw from the Lakers is a prelude to what we'll see, which is Anthony Davis being the focal point of what the Lakers do. So with that, I think it's going to be like, okay, this is Anthony's team, honestly. And LeBron James is going to be the guy that's expected to complement him, set him up, and make him look good and make him dominate, allow him to dominate by getting easy buckets and things of that nature. As far as the Lakers are concerned, going forward, I think we have like 100 games against the Warriors in the preseason. So we're going to see a lot of that team. I expect them to play better. I expect them to kind of get into their rotations a little better. We'll see a better team out of the Warriors, but boy, am I excited about the Lakers. I think at the end of the day, if this team is going to do what I think it can do, it's going to be upon them to stay healthy. Health is really going to tell the story for this team. Because as long as we have our 7-footers, JaVale, Dwight, Kuzma, I'm putting in there as a 7-footer because he is that tall to a degree. He's like 6'10". I'm pretty sure he's still growing. He might make 7 feet. And, of course, McGee, Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, those are the names. When you have those guys on the floor in constant rotation, sometimes two on the floor at a time, I think there's maybe only 2 or 3 teams that can actually match up with that. Maybe 2 or 3 teams. But there are some teams that have a lot of bigs too. We're not the only team with a lot of bigs. So I would caution all Laker fans before thinking that you're going to run through everybody with the bigs, because there are a few teams. And, like that's what I've been trying to preach to all of you guys. Like, the NBA is not what it was. And I know this is going to sound like a crazy take, but I think teams like the Golden State Warriors may have been left behind, believe it or not, because they don't have bigs. And now it's not going to be a perimeter-based game because the bigs are going to be able to shoot a lot of times. You know, a lot of these players that are coming into the league, they shoot. They're 7 feet and they have guard skills like Anthony Davis. So you can't be 6'1" as the best player on your team when the best player on the other team does the same things you do and he's 6'10". So that's what the NBA is about to turn into. That's what we're showing, displaying, and it's scary. Now the Lakers guard play is going to be the story. We have to get consistency out of our guards, but the good thing is that they do complement our bigs quite a bit. They do have enough defensive presence in each and every one of these guys that we have as guards to where they can stay in front of guys, and then if they get beat, our bigs can come by with the weak side and send the basketball the other way. So we're going to have good synergy in that regard. But I just wonder if the guards are going to get worn down a bit. They're not overly talented, they're not overly athletic, and they're not really all that young. So that's going to be part of it. Can the Avery Bradleys, the KCPs, Daniels and Greens of the world, can they give us enough? Quinn Cook, obviously, Caruso, can they give us enough to make it? Rondo, I want to keep naming these guys. We got a lot of them, but can they do enough to complement our bigs, especially from the perimeter? Can they stretch the floor? And we have shooters. We have plenty of shooters. And what's really exciting is the young guys that we picked up, the guys on the back of our bench, were just splashing. Like they had moves. These dudes were doing step backs and all kinds of little. I'm like, who the hell is this? Who is 21? Who's number 20? Those dudes just popped off the screen like crazy. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing who can make the team and who's going to be able to carve out minutes. Obviously, it's going to be difficult in the regular season to see these guys with how deep we are. But just going forward, once we start getting to the trade deadline, I think we'll probably make some trades. If somebody emerges, maybe one of those or two of those guys can be regular rotation players in the end. Because I am not, and I know nobody's talking about this, but I'm not of the mindset that the Lakers are going to stand pat at the trade deadline. I'm not. I think the Lakers are going to make a move or two, or at least consider making a move or two at the trade deadline because, again, we don't have young guards. All of our guards are young in the tooth with the exception of Caruso and Quinn Cook. Everybody else has some age on them. I don't think we're athletic enough at the 3 spot. Not quite athletic enough. We need somebody down there that can do a little something from the 3 spot. And so I think those are things that are easily addressed at the trade deadline with the type of assets that we have right now. So if we're winning, if we have like 40 wins by All-Star game and we just run through the league, then there's absolutely no reason to do that. But if the Lakers have some hiccups, 1 or 2 of our bigs go down, something like that, yeah, I definitely see the Lakers making a trade or two to improve our roster. And so you heard it here first. I know nobody's talking about that, but I am. I see holes in our athleticism that leave me slightly concerned. And because only one of those 3 7-foot bigs, or if you want to add Kuzma too, stretch the floor, because Dwight and McGee are not going to do that, I can see where the Lakers are going to want a little more offensively, especially given the fact that Anthony Davis does tend to go down. He does tend to get injured. So I don't expect him to play 82 this year. So it's like, okay, we're going to have to maintain. And the one thing that I want to pay close attention to is how the Lakers play when LeBron James and or Anthony Davis is not on the floor. Can they maintain leads? Can they maintain? Because of what I just said, I do believe that there are going to be times where those guys are just not going to play. Anthony will pick up an injury, a shoulder or something. It's who he is. So we got to be good enough when that happens. That's going to tell the story, in my opinion. We can't be overly reliant upon 2 guys, even if those 2 guys are 2 of the greatest players we've ever heard of. You need to have dominance elsewhere. Kuzma is going to be the name that he comes up, and I'm not saying trade him, but in terms of him being the guy that steps up and making it so that none of this is necessary. If he starts becoming the 30-point scorer that I know he can be, then there's nothing to talk about. Literally, once Anthony goes down, he comes in, he continues to do what he does. If we had every game at the Toyota Center against Houston, I think that Kuzma would be an all-star because he loves that building. If you go back and look at his highlights, when he goes to the Houston Toyota Center, he always lights them up. So I'll be looking to see how he does when he goes into that arena this year against Westbrook and Harden and all that. But anyway, great stuff from the first game of the preseason. I'm not too excited. And I would also encourage everybody to understand about preseason rotations. because I've heard a couple people that I know talk about rotations, how they wanted to see Caruso start and things like that. In the preseason, all coaches really want to do is implement their system and get as much looks as possible in terms of how many different types of combinations of players they can put on the floor, who can play with whom. That's all it's about. So you may see Rondo starting this game, play 20 minutes. You may not see Rondo play at all in the next game. You may see Caruso start and get a whole 38 minutes in one of these games. Like, that's just how the preseason rotation works. Everybody's new, coaches new, systems new. A couple of the players have played with one another, but as a collective, they've never played with one another. And so it's going to be a lot of experimenting in the preseason. But I will say this. You got to give the credit to all the basketball minds on this team, coaching staff, and the vets. They have the best intensity that I think I've ever seen going into a preseason. In terms of focus, in terms of being in sync, in terms of being zeroed in. This is the best I've ever seen. And I'm not really surprised by that because of the type of names that we have, the type of players that we have. Nobody's really young to this league. Most of these guys have either been to a finals, had long playoff runs, or been in the league for a very long time. So it's not like they don't know what they need to do to make it work. But the fact that they've made it work from jump. The very first practice, they came in with an intensity. The very first game of preseason, they came in looking great. I think that's a wonderful sign. So as far as LeBron James and Anthony Davis go, I'm not surprised. This is exactly how I envisioned it. Lots of pick and rolls, lots of lobs, impossible stuff to stop. You know, you're talking about, again, two of the greatest players to ever play this game, playing with one another. And it's not just that they're great players. You know, you could put Jerry West and Allen Iverson together. We're talking about size here. You understand what I'm saying? We're talking about size. It ain't just two of the greatest players in the world. It's two guys that are practically unstoppable historically. So when you put them together, you're going to have opportunities that most teams are not going to be able to put on the floor. You're gonna have options that other teams aren't going to be able to put on the floor, rather. So, I like what I see, and just from a personal standpoint, I like that they are proving me right in terms of how they play, in terms of what I expect from the Lakers, in terms of my vision of the team. It's exactly what I envision them to be. So we'll see how it goes later on as the season progresses. Again, my concern will be health and youth. I just don't think we have enough of that athleticism, but the size makes up the difference. And because Anthony Davis is so damn great, easy buckets will come all the time. And I just don't know, honestly, who's going to be able to stop us. Because the teams that I mentioned that have the bigs that can mess with us don't have the continuity, won't have the coaching staff, won't have et cetera, that we have. It's a lot of intangibles on this team other than just size that makes us dangerous, including our depth. And I'll say this. You know, I would love to have Kawhi Leonard on this team. Everybody knows that Kawhi Leonard is one of the top 5 players in the world. We all know that. I don't know that this team is better with Kawhi Leonard if you remove the players that we got in his stead when he didn't come. I think that Rob Pelinka deserves a boatload of credit, along with whoever else is involved, all the scouts and everybody that put this team together. They deserve a boatload of credit because they put together something that was intriguing, huge, and it really complements the players that are already on this team. You know, they really complemented their stars here. So for me, it's just all about giving those guys credit and understanding that, you know, this team is going to be hard to beat. I'm not saying that just as a Laker fan. The more I think about this squad, the more I play with them on 2K, that kind of thing. Look, the Clippers are scary because they have perimeter-based players. And I bring the Clippers up because they are the other team that you look at when you say who can win the championship. I personally think Philadelphia can be in that conversation as well, and I think Milwaukee may be in that conversation too. I like their depth. But when you look at the Clippers, they can dominate the league that just left us with all those guards. They could see the Golden State Warriors to a degree, I believe. They would be able to see teams like the old Dallas Mavericks, old Phoenix Suns. Like they would dominate those teams because of the type of defensive perimeter play that they have with those 3 offensive and defensive two-way players. Well, 2, and then you add Patrick Beverly with the defense that he brings to the table. But that's not the league they're in right now. The league that team could have dominated is not the league that's going on. So that's what they're going to find out. That's what they're going to find out. For me, the Clippers, it's all about health. And I agree with CJ McCollum when he said, in regards to his own team, if you try to Kawhi yourself through the season, you're going to Kawhi yourself out the playoff picture. And that's exactly what could happen if they try to take too many games off with their 2 stars. And I know people say, "Oh, the Clippers, they were already a team without PG and without Kawhi Leonard. They already had a playoff team last year. They did. This is not last year. This is not last year. Your team, Phoenix is better. Like I say this all the time. I don't want to sound like a broken record today, but there are teams in the Western Conference that have gotten bigger and better. Their young players have gotten 1 year older, and you got this Zion character with a bunch of old Lakers who are itching for a playoff berth. They don't care that they're on a new team. They're still playing together, so that synergy is going to be there immediately. And I think they have a chance of knocking somebody out of the playoff picture, even if they don't make the playoffs themselves. The fact that they're going to win more games is going to make it so that somebody else isn't. And that's how I look at it. So some of these teams y'all think are going to be really, really good. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm telling you. Everybody's super high on the Rockets. I'm telling you right now, the Rockets are not as good as people think. I don't care. James Harden is James Harden, one of the greatest offensive players the world has ever seen. Russell Westbrook, one of the most accomplished offensive players the world has ever seen. They have played together, all that. They grew up together. That's beautiful. But they are the 2 highest usage players in the world, and they don't have an answer for Anthony Davis. They don't have an answer for any of those big players like that. None of that. With respect to Clint Capella, he is a garbage player in terms of garbage. When I say garbage, I don't mean he's bad. I mean like he does the dirty work. He does the garbage pail stuff. That's what I mean by that. He does the dirty work. He ain't stretching the floor. He don't have a bunch of post moves. He ain't doing all that. He's just super active. And he gets offensive rebounds. And he's a fantastic shot blocker. And he'll finish really, really well around the rim. But that's it. Like, he cannot be an answer for Anthony Davis. So what you got is guys like Golden State and the Rockets are going to be playing the perimeter, doing all the little step back, jump back threes and all that stuff. But they ain't going to have the interior play to really get the tip in, to get the rebounds, to control the basketball. The Lakers are going to control the basketball. Most importantly, because we have those bigs, we're going to get those guards in foul trouble. I can't stress it enough. Your James Hardens, your Kawhi Leonards, people like that, they're going to get in foul trouble trying to deal with them damn Laker bigs. That's what's going to happen. So a lot of times those guys aren't going to be on the floor, and it's going to be about the depth. Who can come in off of these benches and give you a spark against big teams like the Lakers and the Sixers and several others in Milwaukee, teams that have bigs? Good luck. That's all I got to say. Good luck. People don't see it coming, but we about to dominate, in my opinion. The Lakers are going to dominate this season. The only thing that can stop them is health. Health. That's it. Too big, too strong, too good. Health. That's it. So, yeah, man. All y'all super Clipper lovers, all you super Houston lovers, think this is going to be an easy walk in the park for some of them? No. They don't have the size. Neither one of those teams have the size. And it's going to come down to size. This is not a perimeter-oriented league anymore. So, yeah, man. I'm being proven right. As this season is starting, we're seeing glimpses of what I've been talking about. So just keep on watching your boy. I'm gonna keep on giving you what I think is going on out there. And I'm going to try to be more active on this thing. I like I said, I just got a new job. You know how that is. Your body has to adjust to the new schedule. You have to get used to the route and all that good stuff. So I haven't been able to just sit down and do videos like I used to as of late. And so I'm very happy about that. But it's playoff time, or should I say it's season time, and I'm in. I'm ready to go. Heck, yeah, I wish it were playoff time. We can just skip the regular season, and let's just get to the shits. That's the way I look at it. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to eat some breakfast, and yeah, go Lakers. Peace.